is Shen. I am a current senior here at Cornell studying biology and society. I went on 2 separate AIESEC trips. The first one was in Budapest, and that was my sophomore year. And the second one was in Poland, Warsaw. That was last year during the winter. In both cases, I worked with 4 NGOs that have worked with people who are physically and mentally disabled. AIESEC really helped me find an experience that I wanted to have abroad, and it was an outgoing exchange coordinator who first spoke to me about this potential experience. Catherine Hush told me about, there's volunteer experiences that would happen in Eastern Europe or in South America. And I thought, oh, that would be really great for me, especially during the winter. So I looked through the database that AIESEC provided and found a couple that I was interested in. And then I emailed the EPs on the other side. And they said, okay, we were interested in you, or no, we're not. And it was very much a matching process. And we met through Skype occasionally to talk about what I'm interested in, why I'm suitable for this position, and they wanted to clarify exactly what they're looking for from me as well. And also before I left for both trips, I spoke to Catherine Hood and other people who went on these particular trips about what I should bring, things that I could bring from my culture that would be incorporated within certain social events or events that they're hosting abroad. When I first arrived both in Budapest and Poland, there was someone who came and picked me up from the airport. And since it was my first time in Eastern Europe, and actually Europe at all, I thought, I was a little nervous at first. I wasn't sure how to navigate or work, through the language barrier. So since they were there, they picked me up, and it was very simple and easy to get to the host location I would be staying at. And without that guidance, I really would be a little bit afraid and lost at times. But the people there, in other countries, AIESEC, they made sure that we were comfortable, we had everything we needed, helped us set up the cell phones, that way we can contact them in case we needed anything. They showed us, they walked us or used transport, whatever it was, to get to the NGO, introduced us to the managers and coordinators there, as well as the people who we would be working with, introduced us. And that was great for the first day. And then afterwards, since we were familiar with how to get there and we were a little familiar with the people there, we were comfortable enough to do the presentations and just join them in their daily activities. It was very eye-opening in several cases. First, I learned to deal with very severe language barriers. In Budapest especially, very few people spoke English, as opposed to Poland where there's quite a few translators who would be able to help. So because Budapest was my first experience, I learned to look up things and really be more aware of my surroundings when I'm out abroad to make sure I'm not, I'm safe pretty much. And getting to know, I think, the other interns was another, for me, it was difficult at first because these are people I've never met before. I don't know what I have in common with them. And I think with Budapest, there was a girl who was there before me, and we became really good friends, but because in the beginning she made sure that, the transportation aspect, the bus and subway, she walked me through everything and made sure that I was comfortable enough. And she learned everything, how to survive there pretty much, within the first week. And her buddy was very helpful, my buddy was very helpful. Maybe the cold, I would say it was colder than Ithaca at times, so I wasn't ready for that in terms of my apparels. So I had to go shopping a couple times to make sure I had enough warm things to keep me warm. And also the interaction between people. Like here in the US, everyone's friendly. You can smile at a random stranger as you walk across the street. Over there, there's no expression, the way of showing expression or smiling at random strangers when you're waiting at the bus stop. So that for me was a culture shock just from the get-go. And there was another thing, which was the food. That's very different. I really enjoyed both Polish food and Hungarian food, so that was more of a treat for me. But I think for someone who's not used to a lot of meat in their food and a lot of carbs, that might be a problem. The food that was offered at the NGO wasn't exactly what I had in mind, and so instead of eating with the people, which I wish I could do, I had to eat out a lot. And I wish they had something to offer me, or I could bring my own food so I could spend more time with them and getting to know them on a daily basis and just what they're up to in their lives. I would say it happened in Poland when my buddies, along with the other interns' buddies, came over to our apartment and we had a nice celebratory dinner. And we just sat around, had a few drinks, and ate the food that we cooked ourselves, which for me was the first time cooking. So I hope it was okay. And we just, communicated very well and became friends. And that, for me, was the AIESEC moment because it was a group of people from all over the world, very, very much strangers the first time we met, coming together and having a great time. Meeting the interns, they have all become really close with me within the first week. I think we all got pretty close, just going through the struggles together and trying to manage the cold was enough to bring us really close. But we traveled a lot together. In Budapest, we went to Vienna, Prague, and in Poland we went to Italy, Germany. I went to Germany, so we went to Vienna instead, and we also we went to Spain. And we had to coordinate the entire trip together, talk about where we wanted to do, list out the top 5 places we wanted to visit. And that was the best part, I think, learning about them, what they're interested in, why they want to go to these countries, and their own personal lives, both back home in Brazil or in China or in Singapore. That was really great. And what happened after a week for each group was you saw, everyone kind of adopting a role where one person would be the responsible one person would be the fun, crazy one, another person might be the political one. And for Poland, I think it was when there was the techie, someone who fixed our stuff, and he was from China. He was a very nice guy. And there was the Brazilian who wanted to have fun all the time, which is great. She encouraged us to go out and really try new things all the time. There was my friend from Singapore, and she was very organized. She got everything down to the minute, and she was responsible, and every time I had problems we would go to her, and I think I probably just kept the organization of everything. And so kind of bringing out each person's characters and personalities was really great to see. That was the best part. There was a social one. So in Poland we went to Spain, Barcelona, to just for travels for a couple of days. And we decided to go out on the last night before we had to go back. And we had a little bit to drink, danced a lot, and afterwards, and towards the end of the night, we got on the bus. But on the bus, for the first time, I had felt like I was going to throw up as I was on the bus, and I never had thrown up before. So I had to get everyone out of the bus. But then when we left the bus, it was in the middle of the night on this random bridge. No one knew where we were. We didn't have phones that could do GPS travel tracking or access to internet or Google Maps. And therefore we were stuck here in the middle of nowhere, and looking at the bus schedule, it looked like it wouldn't be here for another hour, and it was freezing. It was maybe negative something degrees Fahrenheit. And so eventually we had to scout out for a taxi, and that was really terrifying because we didn't know which way to go and whether it was even safe to leave the bus stop. So for me, the abroad experience overall was very much eye-opening, and I met friends from all over the world who I'm still Facebook friends with, and I would definitely contact them if I'm in the area they reside in. I think for me, since I worked at NGOs, learning about the lives of these disabled people really changed my perspective on what I thought was helping others. One of the things I figured out was I was there for a brief moment, maybe 6 weeks, and I could only make a very short-term effect. However, I want more. I want to make a long-term effect on these people. And for me, this experience really inspired me to do something so that I can make such an effect.